Most people think that building a golf simulator is expensive, complicated, and it takes up a whole load of space. But honestly, it's way easier than you think. In this video, I'm going to show you the most simplest way to get started building a golf simulator. Step by step, no confusion, no overcomplication, just exactly what you need to get started. So a golf simulator simplified is just 5 things. Number 1, space. Number 2, something to hit into. Number 3, something to hit off. Number 4, your chosen launch monitor. Then number 5, something to display it. Now this is actually more than one part, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let's start on the first one, space. Now this is usually the biggest off-putter for anyone wanting to build a golf simulator. How much space do you need? Well, let's simplify it. Can you swing your driver in the space that you want to use? If the answer is yes, then you have enough space. Now look, ideally you want 3 meters or 10-foot high ceilings. You want around about 11 foot in width. And you want around about 15 foot in depth. But these are the ideals. Now look, if you have a smaller size but it works for you, then you have yourself a space for a golf sim. Quite literally as simple as getting in there and having a look. Now where you put your golf sim, it doesn't really matter again. You could use a garden room, you could use a garage, a spare room, whatever it is that you have that sort of dimensions in. In the UK, you're unlikely to have room inside your house because of the way the houses are built. In America, you might just have that. In other places in the world, you might build slightly different to us. So wherever you put it, as long as you have power and ideally internet, you're good to go. Next then, we have what are you hitting into? Now with this, you've got 2 options. Pretty simple. You can either go with a pop-up net, like I've got displayed on the screen right there. That is something from SimSpace, about £300 is going to get you set up with a net and you can play just with a screen in front of you. That's going to work really well if you're just getting started. Now your next option would be to build an enclosure and have a impact screen in that enclosure and project the image onto it. But again, that's the next step. So if you're starting out, get yourself a net and just see if you enjoy simulation golf or not. Next, we have what you're hitting off. Now, this is an area of your build you don't want to be saving too much cost because a decent mat is going to prevent you getting injured and a cheap mat, well, that could lead to injuries. But my top tip on this is you don't need to spend a fortune because most very, very good hitting mats also come in strips. Get yourself a strip and get yourself a cheap stance mat. So you're standing on something cheap, but you're hitting off something more premium. That way you're saving money on a full size mat and you're still getting the benefit of a premium mat. That is my top tip for saving money and still getting a good hitting mat. So we come to launch monitors. Now these are the brains of your simulator. These are the most important part because this is what's going to track your ball and also give you that data. So how do we go about simplifying the process of buying our first launch monitor? Well, the first thing you want to be doing is doing some personal research and looking at the driving factor. Now, if your driving factor is budget, you can split launch monitors into 3 categories. Firstly, you have budget or entry level units, something like the Square Golf launch monitor. And by the way, I highly rate this bit of kit. This would be my pick when it comes to under £1,000/dollars would be the Square Golf launch monitor. You can have its rival like the Rapsodo, but then you need to look at the Rapsodo unit as far as radar based and have you got the room available in your simulator to be able to put that unit far enough back. So next then would be your mid-range, anywhere between £1,000 and £5,000. Again, this is an open book to a lot of launch monitors, but you can do your own research on that sort of mid-range budget and look at what they provide you versus the other units, and you can make your decision based on what data it's giving you, for example. But my pick for that sort of area would be the GolfJoy Spiker 3. This is a fantastic unit. I've owned it for a month or so now, and I've really had no issues with it, and I find it, incredibly accurate. So this would be my pick for that sort of mid-range tier. So then we go into the premium end of the market. Now, in the premium end of the market, you've got 5,000 plus, and this is going to be looking at things like the Pro TVX, the GC Quad, the Trackman IO. Now, I would, in that sort of range of the market, I'd be looking at the Pro TVX as my pick. The Pro TVX is a fantastic unit. It has incredible customer service and really good guys behind it trying to push it and make it better and better every day. So that would be my top pick for the premium end of the market, or the overhead launch monitor section of the market. But again, check the reviews online, make sure you're doing research, look what you need, whether you need overhead, floor, whether you want to have radar based or camera based, and the levels of data you want to get from your launch monitor. It's not that difficult to choose. You just need to be brave and go out there and choose one. Now you need something to see your shots on. So how are you going to display your simulator? Well, nowadays you can start with even a smartphone or even a tablet, but you could also use a laptop, a TV, or a projector. There's so many options available now as far as showing your simulation golf. The fact that you can use a tablet now is incredible. Something like Square Golf runs on a tablet, and the GolfJoy Spiker 3 also runs off even a phone. Now, then you also have GS Pro. Now, GS Pro is a software that I use that you've seen in this video being displayed on that screen. And again, that's an addition you could add in later. You could start with the launch monitor's own native software and move to GS Pro, or you can get straight on that and get yourself a gaming PC and project your image through a projector. That is going to be slightly more expensive in the way of starting. So my suggestion would be, if you're starting out, just get yourself a launch monitor that connects to something like an iPad or a tablet, and that's going to be fine to get you started when you're hitting into a net. So with all this being said and simplified, how much does this sort of thing cost? Well, we can start in 3 tiers. So let's go with a basic starter setup, hitting into a net, using a launch monitor and displaying it on a tablet. Well, this is going to cost you, let's say, up to about £1,500 once you've bought the net, the launch monitor and a hitting strip, right? And you connect to your tablet you've already got, you're looking at about £1,500. It's not going to cost you a whole load of money. But if you want to go into that second little section, which is going to be your sort of full setup, so something like this. This is going to cost you between £2,000 and £5,000. You can start, now this actually right here was £2,800 before we upgraded the projector and we got the Spiker 3, so using the Square Golf launch monitor. And that full build video is still available on my channel, so go and check that out after this video if you want to build something that looks a bit like this for around about £3,000 or less. So then you go into the premium section of the market, and this is your bespoke builds. These are bespoke, custom built simulators in your space. A company like Golf Sim Rooms could come in and fit your unit out to a bespoke design that you've spent time looking at and coming up with. Could build you external buildings to put this stuff in. So the costs are going to be down to your design. But this is all open to what you can afford and what you're looking to do, whether it's a DIY project or whether it's a custom built by design, or whether you just want to get started and get yourself a net and start hitting balls and enjoying simulation golf. But the best thing is, when it comes to building golf simulators, you don't need to do it all at once. You can add to it as you go, like we have here, and just keep upgrading bit by bit and spreading the cost of what will eventually be a luxury golf simulator. So let's look at where people go wrong. Now, the most common is ceilings too low, because they didn't do the test I talk about, which is swinging a driver and making sure you feel comfortable in that room. The next then would be a cheap mat. Making that decision to buy a cheap mat can be costly when it comes to injuries. So keep that in mind and make sure you think about other ways of making it more cost effective, like using a strip instead of a full-size mat. So next we have using the wrong launch monitor for your space. This is quite common, I hear this a lot, and that may be because your lighting in your room is bad, so you need to avoid certain launch monitors, or that you're trying to use radar based and you've got too short a room. There's many reasons why a certain launch monitor won't work in your space. So make sure you're doing the research based on what you are going to be building. And lastly, we have alignment. Alignment is crucial when you're playing simulator golf because everything is straight lines. So make sure whatever launch monitor you use, you are looking at alignment with precision. So get all them points right and everything is easy as far as building a golf sim. If you're thinking of building a golf simulator, just start simple. You don't need to have everything from day one. So guys, let me know in the comments section what more you want to know about building golf simulators, and maybe we can start putting together simulators based on certain budgets. What are my recommendations? That sounds cool, but let me know in the comment section if it might help. So if this video has helped you in any way, then please do hit that subscribe button. And also, like I said before, let me know in the comment section of any more information you want to know about golf simulator builds. So all the products I spoke about in this video are linked in my description below, and hopefully you'll be able to save a few quid and make it a bit easier if you're looking to purchase them. But for now guys, I've been Raw Golf, you've been awesome, catch you on the next one.
Raw Golf, we go live on the screen, feels like we're sharing one